Thank you for reminding me. It's already started recording. Okay. So this time it's going to be wait lang. Let me just yeah. Okay. Let me just share my screen. Yeah. Okay. Can you see my screen now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good. Okay, so for today, this is actually discussing normal distribution. For normal distribution, we're going to be familiar with the properties of normal and standard normal distribution, learn the use of the normal distribution table, solve and interpret z-scores, find the areas under the normal curve, and problem solving involving normal distribution. Okay, now the normal distribution, or also known as the bell curve, is actually a distribution which is symmetrical on both sides of the mean, and it is a continuous probability distribution. Now, it's called as the bell curve because of its visual representation, which is similar to the shape of the bell, and it is also known as the Gaussian distribution because of Carl Gauss, who actually described it. Okay. Oops, wait lang guys. Technical issue. Wait lang. Yan. Ala. Yan. Okay, dyan pa naman kayo, no? Are you still there, guys?
Yes po,
Yan.
ma'am.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Thank you, thank you. Okay. So yan, wait lang nawala yung aking PowerPoint. Yan. Okay. So in the normal distribution, it's actually the curve that sums up one representation of probability. Now, the distribution is actually clustered around the mean. So ito yung mean natin. Okay? Ay, wait lang guys. Before, may na-skip yata akong part. Yeah, hindi, okay lang. And then the mean, mode, and median is actually here on this particular region. Okay, let me just, and so this is where your mean, mode, and median is actually located. Okay? So, yan. Remember yung discussion natin, positively skewed, negatively skewed, yan. Diyan siya nakapwesto. Now, so this is your representation of the bell curve. Now, characteristic nun, kaya nga siya bell curve because of the shape. It's bell shape. Ito yung mismong pagkaka-curve niya dito. Yan. And then, the measure of tendency are equal and are located at the center of the distribution. So, this is equal to this side. Okay? Let me just change color. Yan. And then it's unimodal. So one mode, that's why we're only one peak. So kasi kung multimodal yan, hindi na po siya bell curve. We're just gonna be a wave. Okay? And then at the same time, it is symmetrical on both sides. Yan, sabi ko sa inyo, equal sila. And asymptotic on the x-axis. When you say asymptotic, it's not, it's gonna be extending on both sides of the uh, bell curve. It's not gonna touch the x-axis. Okay? and the whole area is equivalent to 1 or 100. Kaya nga yung iba minsan ito yung kalahati ng bell curve sa gitna. And there are a lot of things that we know to the bell curve. So, unahin natin muna yung mga definition of terms na related sa bell curve. So, unang-una po is standard dev. Although the standard dev that we're going to be using here is the sigma, since we're looking at population. Okay? Okay? And then we only use S if you're referring to sample. Okay? Think we have already discussed at that time. Now, since we're using sigma for the symbols of the standard dev, therefore variance is going to be not S squared, but this time we're going to be using sigma squared. So the same thing pa rin yung process ng pagko-compute natin ng ating variance in sigma. Now, let's have an example here in for some particular scores. So for example, you have here a set of scores of 5 employees wherein you have 92, 95, 93, 95, and 96. So again, rule of thumb is arrange them in increasing order. So ito, in-arrange ko na siya in increasing order here. And then get the total of the sample. So the total of all of this is 470. Now, since we're able to get the total, we can actually compute now for the mean. So that since we have only 5, we can actually go ahead and directly substitute it in the value. So that's 470 divided by 5, you'll get 94. Now, the first column, or the second column rather, is actually computing the difference between the score and the mean. So, susubtract lang natin yan. Since 92 is greater than 94, you get 2, a negative 2, negative 1, 0, 1, and 2. Okay, so as shown here. Okay, and then if you're going to square this value, you're going to get 41014. So, equal lang halos sila. And then if you're going to, the next one you're going to do is square the scores. So you're going to get this one now. And then get the sum of the last two columns. So column with a square is 10. And the last column is going to give you the value of 44190. Now, ma'am, bakit hindi natin ginawitan ng frequency? Wala tayong frequency because the sample that I gave here is ungrouped data. Okay? Although we are using this one, since we're talking about the norm, we'll still be using sigma for the symbology. So, given that di ba pag sa group data, meron tayong frequency, wala tayong frequency. So, diretso na lang tayo sa square of the difference between the score and the mean. Okay? So, the sum is 10 divided by the number of items that we have here, which is 5. Therefore, the variance is 2. And since we know that standard dev is the square of the variance, therefore, the standard dev is 1.4. Okay, so given that we're able to calculate that the standard dev is 1.4, we can actually now start presenting it in our uh, bell curve. Okay, wait lang. Diyan ka nakapwesto. Yan. So if we represent it here, if it's gonna do it on a chart, so ganito usually ang ginagawa natin pag pag-represent, di ba? Ito yung scores, ito yung employees. Now, asaan yung mean? Ang mean natin is nasa 94. Okay? And then, if you're going to talk about probability, it's gonna be above and below the mean. So, yan po yung standard dev niya. Now, since this is something that's quite difficult to explain, the best way to present this talaga is using the bell graph, okay, or a bell chart, okay. So here, first thing we're gonna do when we draw a bell graph is identify the x and y axis, like the one that we have here right now. Then draw the bell. Yan. So, as you notice here, hindi siya nag-extend doon. Okay? Hindi siya dapat nagta-touch sa x-axis. Next is identify the mean. Now, the mean is the one that's going to divide your bell into two equal parts. Now, based on the data that we have collected, we will be able to identify normally 68% of the data falls one deviation before and after the mean. So here, this is, so kung 68 percent siya, divide natin sa dalawa, it's gonna be 34.1 and 34.1. So that's on the left and on the right of the mean. Okay? So this is actually the first standard dev. Negative, kaya siya negative because it is located on the left side of our mean. And then positive here because it's on the right side. Parang ano, Cartesian plane. Okay? And then, if we're going to compute for the next one, 95% of the data will fall within the second standard depth. So, itong kalahating to, so ito 'di ba 68, so dadagdagan mo lang siya ng roughly 20 something percent on which is divided by 2, so that's actually 13.6, another 13.6 here, making this the position of your second standard dev na negative, and this is your second standard dev na positive, okay? So itong buong area na to, okay? So ito yung area ng 68%. Okay? Kikulayan natin. And then the other one is yan. Ito naman. Ito ngayon yung part kasama na siya. Yung nasa gitna. Yung ating 95%. Okay? And then, the next measure is going to be 99.7%. And this one is on the third standard dev. Ito. So, mula dyan, kasama tong mga to. Sensya na akong lumalampas hanggang dito. Ang sakop noong mga yan. So, itong buong ito ngayon na kulay orange is the 99.7%. Yung kulay green na area is the 95%. And yung kulay yellow na area is the 68% of the data. Okay? And usually, the distances between the standard dev and the mean is pare-pareho lang. Okay? Now, let's have an example showing this problem. So, example, you have 68% of the employees in the institution are between 1.2 and 1.8 meters. So, given that you have this is now our sample. So, this is now going to be your scores. Okay? So, since ito yung scores mo, tapos ito yung mismong percentage mo ng iyong deviation. Okay. So, this will be, so let's compute now. So, this is the mean. To get the mean, pagkunin nyo lang yung dalawa. Yan. So, you have 1.2 plus 1.8 divided by 2. And this will be giving you a mean of 1.5. Okay. Now, with 68% is the standard deviation, is the first standard, is one standard deviation from both sides. So, pag kinompute mo ngayon siya, it's going to be, yan ngayon yung measure nyo sa bawat standard dev natin. Okay? So, ito ngayon yung ating bell curve. Yan. So, to compute one standard dev, i-divide nyo, subtract nyo lang tong dalawa, then get the midpoint. Okay? And it will give you zero point 0.6. Zero point 0.6 divided by 2 will give you 1.15. So if you're going to notice here, yung sa bell curve na diagram nito, yung midpoint niya is the mean. Okay? And then, 0.15 prior to the mean is 1.35. Okay? And then 0.15 after the mean is 1.65. Okay? So ito yung ngayon yung tinatawag nating ito yung ating first standard dev negative, first standard dev positive. Okay? Now, if you're going to move naman, add more, okay, or subtract from 1.35, 0.15, you get the value of 1.2. Pag dito ka naman, pag nag-add ka, you get 1.8. Now, this now becomes our second standard dev, negative. And this will become our second standard dev na positive. Now, if in case you want to draw further on the side of each, okay, so let's say dito, magdadagdag tayo. So, 1.2 minus 1.5, it's going to give you, ito, siguro ito yung drawing niya. Pasensya na ako nagko-curl. And then, dagdagan natin dito. Okay, yan. So, this is going to be 1.05 and this will become 1.95. Okay, so that is how you're going to be able to represent your bell curve. Now, your bell curve usually refers to the distance between the mean using what we call the z-scores. Now, if it is the z-scores usually refers to the area within the normal distribution. Now, guys, although here it is stated the z-score is always positive, pero may mga values, meron na tables na available na may negative tayo. Share ko lang yung link sa group natin. Okay, wait lang guys ha. Saan na ba yung hindi pa siya ginagamit. Ayan. Okay, so this is the table that I'm referring to wherein the it contains both positive and negative z table. So usually, if you're going to look at the z table, you can be able to identify if it is for a negative value or a positive na value. So titingnan nyo lang yung first column here. Okay? So pag yung column, yung values na nandito, sumobra na, is a negative, then you're looking at the negative z value. And then if you're going to look at the second one here, it is positive. So that's a positive z value. Now, usually, the values here refers to the area on the right side of the table entry. Okay? So let's have an example here. Gamitin na natin si Jamboard. Okay? Wait lang guys. Okay. So, yan. Can you see the Jamboard now? Nakita naman sa inyo dyan, no? Okay. Sige. Wait lang, guys. Oh, na ako eh. Okay. So, here, let's have the example.
Ma'am, naka-mute po kayo.
Oh, sorry. Thank you. Yan. Oh. By the way, for the z-score, okay, the formula is this one. Score minus the mean divided by the standard dev. Then after you got the value for the z, you can look it up on the z-score table. Yan. So let's have an example problem here. Okay. Wait lang, guys. Okay. So for example, yung dito nga nakikita ninyo yung value niya is 4.44 yung C-score niya. So let's try to have it on the Jamboard. Yan. Okay. So usually guys, when you look at it up on the Z table, okay, so given here that the Z score is 0.44. So Z is equal to 0.44. And it's usually going to show the area that is on the right side, on the left side of the score. Okay. So let's pull up a bell curve diagram. Wait lang. Asan na si bell curve kanina? May kanina pa kami ginagamit na bell curve na diagram na maganda-ganda eh. Nawala na din. Mhm. Nawala nga. Wait lang. Hanapin ko ulit si bell curve. Yan. So let's use this particular. Shh. Sensya na kayo yung pusa ako naglalambing. Yan. Okay, so Z044. So, balikunin natin ulit yung ating yan, Z table. So, the one that we're looking at right now is negative. Punta tayo sa positive. So, as again, pag binakita ninyo sa table values is puro positive siya. So, positive yung Z-score niya. Most of the time, ganun ang ginagawa nila. Puro positive lang yung pinapakita niya. But the one that I'm showing you right now, meron tayong negative value. So, ang sample natin dun sa problem natin today is Z is 0.44. So, ito ngayon yon. So, ito si 0.4. Since double digit siya, so, i-meet natin dito sa area na to. Okay? So, 0.4 and so 0.44 now is 0.670. Okay? So, i-capture natin siya para makita ninyo. Yan. Okay. Now, asaan si 0.44? So, if this is our 0, oops, so ito si 0, this will become negative 1, standard def, 1, sigma, 2 sigma, 3 sigma, 2 sigma, 3 sigma. Okay? So 0.44, so this is somewhere here. Okay? So pag ginawa natin, yan. So pag shinade natin, ito yung area na yan. Okay? So sabi ko nga sa inyo, yung value na to refers always to the left of the z-score. Okay? So yan. So ito ngayon yung area ng 0.6700 probability area P Z is equal to 0.44. Yan. So, yan yung value niya. Okay? Now, ito namang sa kabila, ma'am, ano to? Okay? So, ito yung remaining part. Now, since, as I mentioned, this is equal to yung total area niya is equal to 1 or 100. So, what you're going to do to find out the value of the area here, just simply subtract this one by 1. So, this is now P probability of C less than 0.44. So, simply subtract it by 1. So, 1 minus 0.6700. So, ano sagot natin dito? Guys, ano po yung sagot natin?
0.33 po.
Okay, so that is 0.33. Dagdagan natin dalawang 0. Okay? So, this area now is the area of 0.33. So, yan. Yan. So, this is C is equal to uh, 0.33. Okay? Yan po. Maliwanag po. Questions, guys, before I proceed to the next sample?
Wala na po, ma'am.
Okay. So, let's have another sample here. So, let's say it's just going to be using the same one that we have here. Yan. Wait lang. Okay. So for this one, a satisfactory rating of a company has an average of 80 with a standard level of 76. Now, what is the score of the company who earned 75? Okay. So here, therefore, ang X natin is 75. Then, an average, ito yung key term natin. Average, this is our mean. So, mean is 80. Standard def is 6. Okay? So, using the formula, z is equal to x minus uh, mean all over SD. So, substitute lang natin 75 minus 80 all over 6. That would be how much? This will be equal to 0.83. Yes, Alessandra?
Negative 0.83 po.
Okay, 0.83. Okay? So, yan po yon. Now, using our Z table, so kunin natin ulit sa Z table. Yan. So, this is, since we're talking about, guys, sa PowerPoint na pinadala ko, yung table na ginamit dyan is positive. Okay? Kaya lahat na mapapansin ninyo, dun sa sample na ginawa niya, nag-1 tayo. Kasi nga, positive yung table. But since yung website na binigay ko sa inyo may both positive and negative, we can actually go directly to the negative 0.83. Okay? So, ito, picturean natin. So, ito yun, si 0.83. Yan. Sige, let's go to the Jamboard. Yan. Yan, di ba? So, this is 0, 1, 2, 3. Okay? So, this is now equal to 2.2033. Okay? Yan. Kaya kung mapapansin nyo guys, dun sa PowerPoint natin, di ba, kinompute natin yan. Ito siya. 0.33 siya. Pero kasi since positive siya, 0.67 yung naging basis niya. Nag-subtract pa tayo sa, ano, sa 1. Okay? Ayan, sorry, mali pala yung PowerPoint na inano ko. Nandun sa ibang page. Wait lang guys. Ito yun. Ayan. 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 Since we're using Ayan. Ito. This is the part. Yan, 0.83, positive siya, 0.7967. Tama naman yan. We're using a positive table kasi. Pero kung sa negative siya, direct to the point. So, pag positive table ang ginamit mo at negative yung Z-score mo, you have to subtract it from 1 pa. This is why ito yung naging ginawang style niya. Okay? So, yan. So, that's 20.33%. So, pag nilagay natin ngayon sa bell curve chart, yan. So, here, yan. Okay? So, ito ngayon ang gagamitin natin. So, 0.83. So, before siya mag-1. Okay? So, i-draw natin siya before mag-1. Oh, wait. Yan. Yan. So, this is gonna be around here. So, yan. So, let's imagine that this is a straight line. And then, ito yung ngayon magiging shading niya. Okay? So, yan po. So, this is now the area of probability for a z-score which is negative 0.83. Okay? So, yan po yung kanyang chart. Now, question so far guys before we proceed. None? Susundan po. Guys, are you there? Hello? Diyan po ba kayo?
Wala na po, ma'am.
Wala naman. Now, what about if you're dealing with area between two scores? Yan. Now, the reason I'm including this kasi um, I have a question on your quiz wherein it's gonna be using two scores. Okay, so let's have this one. Oops, wait lang. Let me copy. Mhm. Okay, gamitin natin to. Baguhin natin yung data. Although nakasulat na doon sa ano ninyo, 0 and 0.83. Gawin natin, let's say, 1.3. Okay, gawin natin negative 1.3 and 0.83. So, yan yung gagamitin natin. Okay, so the first thing you're gonna do, since sabi ko nga sa inyo, the website that we have, and even in the quizzes that you're gonna be taking, in-include ko na yung tables na negative and positive. Okay, so let's get the z value, probability area for the z. So here, and so taging brush. C is equal to negative 1.30. Okay? So, balikan natin si table. Where are you? So, negative 1.30. So, negative 1.30, ito yon. Okay, 1.30. 1.30 yung ginamit natin. So, ito lang siya, 0.968. So, let me just get a screenshot. Yan. Yan. So, therefore, lalagay natin probability is, so this is 0.0968. Okay? So, yan. Now, yung isa, z is equal to 0.83. Okay? So, kung punta ulit tayo din sa table, punta tayo din sa positive. 0.83 tayo, di ba? Anjali, ang ingay-ingay mo, nandirinig ka. Okay. So, ito yon sa area na to. So, 0, 1, 2, 3. So, hanggang dito ang kukopyahin natin. Okay. So, that's 0, 1, 2, 3. So, ito. So, sulat lang natin. Probabilities C is equal to 0.83 is equal to 0.7967. Okay. Now, let us remember that the probability natin, if you're going to draw a graph for this probability, let's use this one. Dito na nga natin. Zoom natin konti ito para hindi nakakain ng space. Ayan. Sige, let's use this instead. Ayan. Okay. So here, if we're going to graph this, yan, kumuha na ako ng merong linya para doon makita. So, it's negative 1.30. So, this is our 0 or this is our mean. Okay, so this is negative 1, negative 2, negative 3. So, this is 1, 2, and 3. Okay? Ang gugulo. Sensya, ang gugulo ng mga ano kung kailan nagkaklase ako saka nangungulit. So, z is negative 1.30. So, this is the area of the 1.30. Okay, so somewhere here, which is this particular part. Okay, yan. So, itong part na to. Okay. And then the other one is yung area ng 0.83. So, this is where 0.83 is most likely going to be. Okay, so this is just calculation. Ayan. So, dyan daw banda si 0.83. And then, eto siya. Okay? Hanggang dito siya. Kaya lang, ang hinihingi ng problem natin is area between. So, take note of the term, it is between. Okay? Sumobra yung burak ang sulat ko. So, it is between lang. Okay? Now, since between siya, kailangan natin isubtract yung dalawang area natin ngayon dyan. Okay? So, what you're going to do now is subtract the probability area with one another to get the total area. So, sulat ngayon tayo. So, total area now is equal to, okay, so ito, 0.0968 minus 0.7967. Ano ngayon ang sagot natin dito, guys? Ano yung total area natin? Yes, Kimberly?
Negative 0.6999 po, ma'am.
Negative
6. Tapos
0.699.
tatlong 9 po.
Ayan. Okay. So, yan ngayon yung pinaka-area noon. Kahit ano yung una yan, basta ito na po siya. So, ay magbabago na ngayon siya. Ito na, mawawala na po to. Yung mga sinade natin yan. Ito na yung area niya ngayon. Kasi nga, binura natin yung area na lumampas. Kasi nga, pag nag-draw tayo, it's always gonna show on the right. Na kailangan natin tanggalin yung area na yon. So, ito ngayon, yung total area. Nung area between negative 1.3 and 0.83. So, yan po siya ngayon. Okay, so that's how you're gonna get it na. Okay? So, ito na po siya ngayon. Okay? Question, guys. Clarifications, violent reactions. Okay. So, let's have another example. Hala, nakita niyo na yung sagot. Hindi yan yung tanong. Yan. Okay. In a certain barangay, the monthly food expenditure family's average 4,500. So again, sulat yun na kaagad. So this is average. So that is the mean. So the mean is 4,500 pesos. And then, yung scores nyo, dalawa. So you have X1, 3,900. And then X2 is 5,850. And then your standard dev is 750. Okay? So the first thing we're going to do is you're going to get the z values for both scores. Okay? So unahin muna natin si z1. Okay, so z1 is equal to x1 minus the mean all over standard dev. So this is um, 3,900 minus 4,500 divided by 750. What is the value for Z1? Anyone? Yes, Mr. Claro. Mr. Claro? Yoo-hoo. Hindi namin narinig, Mr. Claro. Can you type in na lang kung hindi, ano? O sige, Alessandra, patawaran. What's your answer? Kung may net issue si Alessandro.
Negative 0.8 po.
Okay, so negative 0.80. Okay? So yan. Now, what is the value now for C2? So, ganun din ang gawin natin. So, for C2, it's 5,850 minus by 4,500 over 750. So, what's the answer now for Z2? Kimberly,
1.8 po, ma'am.
positive, no? 1.80. Okay. So, yan. So, um, what percentages of these expenditures are area? So for this one, you're going to get the uh, area in between. Wait lang. Okay. So, yan. So, ganun din ang gagawin natin. Kunin natin muna yung z-score ng bawat isa o yung area nila. Okay. So, kunin natin si table. Sana si ano. Yan. So, negative 0.8. So, dito tayo sa taas. Si negative 0.8 is 0.2119. isa naman is positive 1.80. Yan, 1.8. Ito si 1.80. Okay. Okay, so this is now equal to 9641 and this one. So let's go and pull up a graph. Yan. Yan. Okay. So yung isa is 1.80.9641. Since we're talking about between, we're going to subtract them both. Okay? So this is total area now. Dito na lang natin sa taas. Okay, so this is 0.2119 minus 0.9641. Okay? So what's the answer for this one, guys? Wala na bang iba? Kayong dalawa na lang? Kamusta na si Mr. Claro? Are you still there, Mr. Claro? Can you answer? Or hindi na rin? How about the others? Wala na? O sige, unahin na lang natin kung hindi sino yan? Sige, Miss Blasco, go ahead.
Negative 0.7522 po.
Okay. So that is, uh, actually, hindi puwede na siyang walang negative since you're talking about the area. Yung sa Z-score tayo medyo specific tayo with regards to the negative sign kasi nga we have the left side and the right side of the, normal curve. So, dito puwede natin siyang i-whole number na lang or kasi ginawa natin is ayan, anyways. So, it's 0.7522. Okay? So, yan yung magiging area niya. So, pag dinrowing natin siya dito, okay? So, this is the area. So, this is 1, 2, 3, negative 1, negative 2, and negative 3. So, 1.8. So, malapit siya dito. Somewhere here. And then the other one is before mag 1. Okay? Siguro para mas maayos natin 'to, ayusin na lang natin siya in presentation. Okay. We can actually present this kasi remember the z or the mean is the zero. Yun yung pinakagitna. Okay, so zero. So if you're going to arrange this, it is going to be, wait lang guys ha. Check ko lang doon sa reference ko. Okay, so for the total area, it's actually based on the probability of negative 0.8 is uh, greater than, is less than the z-score or yung pinakagitna natin. Yan, para na mapapa-present natin yung yan. And is less than 1.8. Okay? That is why, pagdating dito, pag pinesent natin, pwede natin isulat na siya as, yun nga, 0.9641 minus 0.2119, giving you a total area of 0.7522. Okay? Which is ito na ngayon siya. Yan. So, ito yung pinaka-area niya ngayon. Okay? Question, guys? Clarification? Now, by the way, guys, i-label din nyo po para lang just to make sure. So, ito yung mismong total area. Ito yung 0.7522 total area. Ito ngayon si Z is equal to 1.8. Ito na ngayon si Z is equal to negative 0.80. Okay, itong area na to. Itong line na to. Para makita kung saan siya nag-start, nag-end at saka nag-start. Okay? Questions? Okay, so if you have no more question, I'd like to show you yung yung mismong calculation, yung activity natin for the week. Wait lang ha. Sensitivity. Okay. Upload ko lang tong, share ko lang tong natin, Jamboard natin for the day. And then I'll show yung ating problem solving. Okay. Yan.